I think I could do it anywhere and any time. I think we pretend that we've hit the sort of sunny uplands of sexual emotional life and truthfulness. But I think it's in human nature, really, difficulty, misunderstanding. I think that, for example, I could have got a young Muslim couple, cousins marrying, who had not actually had any sexual experience, right out of present-day Britain, and written the same rather tender, difficult matter. So, and I also don't think we've left all those pressures behind. There's just different pressures now.
Yeah.
The terrible pressures via the internet and social media of peer group pressure it is very, very much, I think, a problem for young boys and girls in their mid-teens, boys getting sort of athletic, pornographic images of what sex is like from the internet, girls having all the pressures that much discussed of how to look, how to be, how to deliver. Both sexes being told that everyone's having an unbelievable, brilliant time, except you maybe. So, whereas here for Florence and Edward, there's a great deal of sexual hypocrisy, conformity, very stifling. There isn't a language to speak clearly of the emotions. So it's a whole set of other problems. But it is not a golden past, and it didn't occur to me until actually the director said it at the read-through. This is an anti-Brexit movie.
Yeah.
There is no golden past.
Yeah.
Well, there's absurd conventions about wedding nights. In fact, what you're doing is embarking on a journey together, and the sky and earth do not need to explode or shake. So as Saoirse and I were agreeing yesterday, this is a movie in favour of cuddling first. Moving at your own space and speed and space and time. If only they'd just taken time just to get to know each other physically, but it all has to happen at once because that's what the convention and tradition says. So Edward is left standing on the beach. Saoirse is Florence is sweetly saying to him, let's walk back to the hotel together. But he's in a rage, his masculine pride is offended, he feels humiliated, and he's in a sulk, a sort of masculine form of sulk. And he doesn't turn, he keeps his back to her. And as it turns out, 45 years later, he discovers that is the turning point of his life. Had he turned round and walked back together, he might well have written those history books. Because as the novel says, she was the most serious person he ever met. And he never met anyone like that again. And this is how a life can change, as the novel says, by doing nothing. He could have become the father of Chloe.
Yes.
And so it does, I do weight it in the movie to an even greater sort of form of soft tragedy for Edward, heating up his supper in a microwave alone in his parents' old house.
Yes, it's poignant. And I think particularly that sense of not doing something as being the crucial thing. We tend to think of action as being the crucial thing rather than not acting.
Sometimes not acting can be, sometimes it can be a deliverance. It just depends. There are certain times when doing nothing is the best option. But in this case, for Edward, turning around would have transformed his life. Well, it's an interesting technical problem because there isn't any dialogue for the first half of the novel. It's to find a language for them. That was really the first thing to do. So the very first scene I wrote was, in fact, I marked it up as such, as below the credits, as they roll, principal credits, as a prelude, which is Edward explaining to Florence how a 12-bar blues works. And I was able to catch something in that exchange of the misunderstandings that were going to follow, that she hears it all in terms of a classical musician. We're talking of tonic and dominant and subdominant, and she thinks a minor seventh would be an improvement on a seventh. Actually, it wouldn't in a blues. Edward is talking of E and A and B seventh and a turnaround. So it was always a matter of finding a technical way of mirroring their mental distance in exchanges like that. And then we get to the hotel room. The first thing we see is Edward banging the radio to catch just a little bit of Chuck Berry before it fades away to some bagpipes. Again, this is just the first traces of the 60s. Rock and roll is going to invade and many other things too, and change their lives. Technically very interesting. Yeah.